Menorca is often described as the quieter sibling of Mallorca and Ibiza, but that description doesn't quite capture what makes it different. It isn't simply quieter, it moves into a different rhythm altogether. A slower, more deliberate pace of life that feels increasingly rare. I was first introduced to Menorca as a child, when my parents took me there for a family holiday. At the time, it felt like a modest Mediterranean escape, but even then, it stood apart from anywhere else I had visited. We were able to afford the trip thanks to family friends, David and Jenny, who owned a holiday home on the island and generously let us stay at a heavily discounted rate. It's one of those quiet acts of generosity that ends up shaping your life in unexpected ways, because that first visit stayed with me. Many beaches remain untouched, with no hotels, no bars, and no infrastructure, just sea, stone, and silence. Beyond the coastline, the island feels remarkably well kept. The roads are immaculate, the towns and villages are clean, orderly and calm. Places like Ciutadella and Mahón don't feel designed for tourists, they feel lived in, functional, historic, and understated. Menorca doesn't chase spectacle or excess. There's a confidence in its restraint, and a sense that life here is shaped more by tradition and practicality than trend. One detail many visitors notice, and I certainly did, is the taste of the tap water. Some describe it as slightly sweet, others a mineral or metallic. Menorca's tap water isn't actually sweet, but the flavour comes from its high mineral content, particularly calcium, drawn from the natural underground aquifers. This is further influenced by chlorination and desalination, which are essential on an island with limited freshwater sources. The water is perfectly safe to drink, but many locals choose bottled water, simply because of the taste. It's a simple reminder that island life always comes with trade-offs. On a more recent visit, I brought the DJI's top-of-the-range Mavic 4 Pro, and it completely changed how I experienced the island. From the air, Menorca reveals its structure. You see the geometric dry stone walls dividing farmland. You see how closely agriculture, villages, and coastline coexist. And you see just how little of the island has been overbuilt. Each day became a planning exercise. Choose a new vista, a new cala, or a new stretch of coastline to film. Menorca rewards patience, and aerial filming suits it perfectly. Menorca has a permanent population of just over 100,000 people, making it one of the least populated islands in the Balearics. During peak summer months, especially August, that number more than doubles. At its height, the island can host over 230,000 people, largely due to its tourism. Despite this influx, Menorca rarely feels overwhelmed. Strict planning laws, protected landscapes, and development limits have prevented the kind of mass expansion seen elsewhere. Around 21% of Menorca's permanent residents were born outside of mainland Spain, giving the island a quiet, international character while still retaining a strong local identity. One of the most moving places on the island sits at its highest point. At the summit of Monte Toro, rising just over 350 metres above sea level, stands a small monastery and nunnery. From here, on a clear day, you can see almost the entire island, coastline to coastline. What struck me wasn't just the view, but the atmosphere. A statue of Jesus stands elevated above the island, looking outwardly. From that height, it feels less symbolic and more literal, as if quietly watching over Menorca. During my visit, I met several nuns who lived there. They were warm, welcoming, and softly spoken, clearly shy, yet genuinely happy to talk. There was no sense of performance or distance, just calm kindness, humility, and a quiet confidence in their way of life. One of the younger nuns had lived in the monastery for years, dedicating her life to reflection and service. Standing there, with the island spread out beneath us, the noise of the world fell quietly away. The positioning of the monastery is no accident. Monte Toro is the highest natural point on Menorca, and the site has held a spiritual significance for centuries. Up there, the island slows down even further. It was, without question, one of the most grounding experiences I've had on Menorca. I don't need to imagine why David and Jenny chose to retire here long term. Menorca offers space, quiet, perspective. Life moves more slowly, but not emptily. Nature is always close, and urgency rarely feels necessary. Menorca doesn't demand your attention, it invites it. And whether experienced as a child on a family holiday, or later through the lens of a camera, it's an island that stays with you, patiently, quietly, and without trying to impress. Perhaps that's exactly why it does. Thank you for watching. If you got this far into the video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. To date, we've made almost £30 via monetization on YouTube. Every view helps, and like and share. Please like, subscribe and share. Thanks.